Sup, everybody? This is Michael from MTG Anarchy. How are you guys doing today? Today we are actually just going to be focusing on the uh, white organization when it comes to cards. Um, Ultimately, it's from the new set for Theros Beyond Death, and honestly, I think that I'm going to do it for the other cards as well. Sorry for the shaky camera. Um, but yeah, I mean, for me, I think this is something that, yeah, I wanted to cover in general with the other colors as well. But for right now, at least for right now, I'm just doing some organization of at least the white cards. The next one I have to do is black. I've actually kind of done the others already, blue and green, which I'll go back to give my opinions on those. Um, but yeah, I mean, today we're focusing on the white color, at least for this video. Um, but yeah, how did you guys like this set so far when it comes to the color white? Do you guys think this is a good set? Do you guys think it's not that good of a set? How do you guys feel about it? Especially with what kind of has been going on when it comes to these sorts of things. But yeah, just doing some sorting, and I thought, you know what, why not just go ahead and just talk about a couple of new cards here and there, once they're organized, give my opinions of them and everything. And right now, I'm just organizing them. And so let's talk about a couple of things today before we actually go over the cards. First off, let's actually talk about Secret Lair. Now, for me, I am currently doing a video on Secret Lair, which will consist of me going over a couple things with it, price points and everything like that. I'm currently in the works on that one. Ultimately, I think with the previous Secret Lairs and the newest one when it comes to Year of the Rat, I think Year of the Rat's going to be a pretty nice one. I don't think it's going to be for everybody. I think it's going to be for some, but not everybody. Not for everyone. I mean, the few cards that are worth like $5-10 or so forth. I think with there being the printing in general of how many in there, I think it's going to be all right. But for the most part, it's a set that, or it's a layer that I don't think everybody needs. I think if you want this set, it's cool. I think that if you're trying to build Rat Tribal, that actually might be something, especially in like just standard or pioneer. Well, I don't know if it's going to even be for standard. I think it's more pioneer or even modern. Commander for sure. But to me, I think that it's more of a collector sort of piece. And if you want to play with the cards and just tabletop regular, just let your play group know. But for the most part, I think that it looks nice. The 8 cards that they include plus the code and everything, it looks very nice, especially for the Year of the Rat. However, with the other ones previous to it, I've had my own too. For example, for the two that I chose was Kaleidoscope Killers and the one where it was the 3 graveyard recursion, black and green, life from Blown, and I forget what their names are. If you guys know the names of them, at least those 3 cards, leave a comment in the comments below. But for the most part, I think that the ones I went for, especially with the Kaleidoscope Killers, it was something that I wanted. It's something that I felt was very nice to have, very cool to actually have, and to me, it's one of those things where it's just, if I'm going to collect something, I want to make sure that I'm going to collect it for the right reasons. I'm not going to collect something that, hey, look, I might make a couple bucks later on down the road. I mean, there are people that do that, but for me, it's just, hey, look, if this is a cool sort of thing that I'll be able to play, or maybe it's something that I want, then yeah, I'll collect it. But for the most part, it's something that I don't know. I mean, if you need it, then yeah. But if you don't, then it is what it is. And yeah, I think that with all these sorts of new Secret Lair sets, um, that are going to be coming out. Wizards, they made their profit. They're going to continue making more of their profit when it comes to these sorts of things. And I think it's a step to go when it comes to the secondary market um, with these secret lairs. I think it's a really cool product. I think Wizards really did a home run with these sorts of things, depending on what you're into. But honestly, when it comes down to it, do you need these products at the price points they were? I think for some of them, yes, there definitely need to be reprints. Bitter Blossom, for one, was one that needed to be a reprint. Um, I think when it came down to the Eldraine Wonderlands, that snow-covered lands are nice. They are always nice, but to just have 5 cards, one of each land, and not even have a playset of them. Yeah, no, that kind of rubs me the wrong way. I think that if they had a playset of them, like let's say 4 of each lands, or even making them more special. For example, making them full art, or make a sideways art, or something like that. Something that specifies that says, "Hey, look, this is really cool." I think that to me would have been better than what we saw with them. But Wizards went ahead and did the arts how they did. Um, so I think with that, it's something, but it's not what people wanted to expect. Explosive sounds, I think for that one, it's goblins. They could have done other goblins that they you haven't necessarily seen a higher price point, or even a smaller price point. I think the art had its cool little style to them, but do I think that it you're getting your value? I mean, you may, but only on a few of them. Others they've printed just more recent. It's I don't know on those. The one that I talked about with Life of the Loam and Grave, or whatever the cards are. I have the box here. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm just looking at Restless in Peace. I think that set had some things that were really cool. I thought, you know what, Life from the Loam and a lot of the 2 other cards that came with them, I felt that, you know what, they're really cool. The art style is really cool. I liked what I saw, so you know what, I'll pick it up, and that's what I did. And I think if you're doing it for that, you like the art style, you like how the art looks and everything. I think to me, sweet, pick it up, get what you need to. But if you feel like, hey, look, this is something I'm gonna pass on, then go ahead and go for it. Pass on those sorts of things. But yeah, honestly, that was a good one. I like that one. Um, there was a couple of others. Kaleidoscope Killers, of course. I think that was the main ticket one that everybody wanted to get, um, or a lot of people wanted to get, because you had like the big creatures. You had like the Ur-Dragon. You had, I forget the others, um, but you had like Sliver Overlord, or whatever the Sliver one is, and the Scarecrow. I forget their names. If you also know the names of them, please let me know down below. But I think that's the one a lot of people wanted to go after. I think to me, that's what I wanted, because it's like those copies of those cards were just going to be pretty expensive, especially in the art. And the art looks sick. The art looks amazing. And yeah, I love that type of style. It looks like it's going back to the old ways of Magic, and that to me was cool. So I was like, yeah, I'll pick one up. And then we had cats. The cats one. They could have had better cats. I'm gonna say that now. They could have legitimately had better cats when it came to what they chose. Some of them, yes, they were really cool, but others, why? Why did you go for the specifics that you did? I mean, if you're looking for a copy of that card and you say, hey, look, it's pretty expensive right now. Maybe I'm going to hold off on it, but spending $40 for 7 different cards. I don't know. I mean, if you're looking for those types of things or that type of card or that type of set and you feel like, hey, look, this is something that's good, then by all means, pick it up. But to me, it wasn't something that I was looking for. It wasn't something that I was interested in. And so I don't know. I think that my opinion on that specific card is that, or that specific set, Secret Lair, is that, you know what? It shows that it's going to be fun. It shows that it's going to look good. But do you really need that specific one? Maybe you're going to collect it. Maybe you're going to go ahead and sell it later on down the road. I mean, that might be a thing. But if not, then, I mean, if you were able to pick it up, if you wanted it, then sweet. If you weren't, then that is what it is. But what do you guys think of this Secret Lair? I want to know your guys' opinions, because honestly, for me, it's like, you know what? They're fun. They're nice. I mean, if they come out with some that looks cool, and I think they're going to continue with this, seeing how big it is, how it was, let me know if you felt that was cool. Now, another question that sparks this up is, would you like to see what they did with them? Like how they added the glass planeswalkers. And with the glass planeswalkers option, especially from like the War of the Spark set or anything like that, do you feel that they should do a specific style of art extra with them? Like, for example, with this one, with the rats in general, do you feel like you could go ahead and get something from the Kamigawa set or the Japanese-esque type sets? Would you rather go ahead and want something like that, or would you want another planeswalker? What would you want as an extra in there? Because I think a lot of people, without receiving all the types of planeswalkers available, they only had like 15 or 16 of the 37. Don't put me on the spot if they didn't, but if they did, then I mean, only a choice of 16 out of the 36, 37. It's like, is it that much worth it? And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video of if it was actually worth it, with at least the ones they released, on, hey, look, if you did get a Secret Lair, how much are they now versus how much were they then? Is it worth it to just get the card straight out? Or is it, if you could still find them, is it worth it just to pick up the whole box to try to see, okay, what is that Secret Rare? Because I think with a lot of the sets that people don't realize about the Secret Rares or the Secret Lair is that, you know, it's a random lottery sort of thing. If you get something, you get something. If you're trying to look for the specific card that you're looking for, however, you're not going to pull it from the set, then by all means, that to me is more along the lines of, okay, it is what it is. So, but what do you guys think? Do you think they should add an additional add-on? Do you think they shouldn't? Should they just stick to what they have in the box? How do you guys think about that? But I'm almost done organizing at least white. So once we're done, I'll go through each of these cards, at least the commons, uncommons that I currently do have. And we will go ahead and kind of discuss, or I'll discuss my opinion on each of these. Because, yeah, I think everybody has their own opinions on this set, especially for Theros Beyond Death. And for me, especially in white, since I love the color white. I think Lifelink is really cool. I think there's a lot of decent mechanics. There's actually going to be a video where I'm going to talk about enchantments of previous sets, where it's going to be just what I feel is a really good card versus non-really good. But that's going to be later on down the line once I finish recording and get the video set up. But with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple, or the cards that I at least have when it comes to white. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and here we go. First up, Alcide of Life's Bounty is a 1-drop enchantment creature nymph. It's a 1/1 with lifelink, and if you pay 1 and sacrifice Elysiad of target creature or enchantment you control, gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. This card itself, to me, isn't that bad. I think for a draftable experience, it's a 1-drop with lifelink. It's a 1/1. I think you're going to have fun with it. I think the protection option is really cool, especially when it comes to devotion-esque decks. But will it see play in a constructed environment? Maybe life gain, life loss, I don't know. But next card we have Archon of Falling Stars. It's a 6-drop, 4 colorless, and a white. It's an Archon for 4/4 flying, and when Archon of Falling Stars dies, you return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Pretty high casting cost. Honestly, returning the enchantment to the battlefield, that in itself is pretty powerful. Because you're not putting it to hand, you're just putting it straight onto the battlefield, especially for ones you need. So I think for exile decks, doing that and then putting Leyline of the Void out onto the battlefield is always going to be something good, especially in, let's say, constructed. But I mean, that's just my opinion of what I would put in a deck like that. Because I'm more of a, hey, look, if this comes out and it dies or it's gone, I want to see it completely gone. But next up, we have Banishing Light. It's a 3-drop enchantment, 2 colorless and a white. And when Banishing Light enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until Banishing Light leaves the battlefield. I think for just what it is, it's a good card. I think it's going to see good amounts of play here and there when it comes to what people are looking for. But how much play will it see? I honestly don't know. Being commander play, it's like, okay, some of these things you're going to see are going to have good play. Some of these not so much. But, I mean, we'll have to see what happens with Banishing Light. I think commander there, depending on the deck. But moving on to the next one, we have Captivating Unicorn. It's a 5-drop, 4 colorless, and a white creature unicorn. That's a 4/4 with Constellation. So when an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, tap target creature and opponent controls. Honestly, I don't think that's too bad. I wish it was more of just like 4 rather than 5, and it was like a 3/4 maybe, to make it a little bit less powerful. Will it see play? I don't know. Honestly, you would have to do an Enchantress-esque deck for that one to have it see a good amount of play. But that's how I feel about it. Sorry about the shaking. I mean, current setup that I have is I have my camera and a light hooked to a book. I'll have to show you guys how I record these sorts of things. But anyway, next up we have Commanding Presence. It's a 4-drop enchantment aura. It's 3 colorless and white, and it does enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has first strike. And whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, create a 1/1 white human soldier token. Honestly, with the first strike, the +2, and creating another creature, I think 4 is the right type of mana for this one. I don't think if it was any others, it would have been better. But I think with how much it cost, yeah, I think that it's the right sort of cost for it. But I'm just organizing the next set. So out of the card so far, to me, I think Banishing Light's going to see a lot of play. Honestly, that's something that I would even play in a commander deck, especially for exile. But maybe there is others that might do a bit better. We'll just have to see. Let me go ahead and finish this up. Sorry that this is taking time. Honestly, still trying to figure out how to work this sort of stuff out. And yeah, these are going to be like 30-40 plus minute videos, because the organization, maybe in the future, I just go ahead and do separate videos, organizing, and then focus on actually other videos that maybe just what the cards are and what they do. I think that's what I should do. Maybe. Give me your opinions down below about what you guys think I should do on these. But the next up, we're going to have Dawn Evangel. It's a 3-drop, 2 colorless and a white enchantment creature, human cleric. Whenever a creature dies, if an aura you controlled was attached to it, return target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's 2/3. Not a bad card. I mean, it's if it was any creature, I think it'd be busted. But it's really not that bad of a card. And I think bringing stuff back to it, at least low drops, I think that wouldn't be too bad. I mean, yeah, it has to be converted mana cost 2 or less, but it's not a bad recursion sort of thing. So that's just my opinion on that. Next up, we have Daxos, Blessed by the Sun. It's a 2-drop with 2 white pips. It's a legendary enchantment creature, Demigod, and its toughness is equal to your devotion to white. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, you gain 1 life. And its power is 2, toughness, devotion to white. Honestly, I think this is going to see a little bit more play, especially in those life gain decks, life gain, life loss decks. Personally, in a lot of things where you want to use Bolas's Citadel, I think that's going to be very powerful. And Bolas's Citadel is from the War of the Spark set, so honestly, I think that's going to be a powerful card. But for 2, yeah, that's bust me. That's pretty powerful. Next up, though, we have Daybreak Chimera. It's a 5-cost, 3 colorless, 2 white Chimera, and the spell costs X less to cast, where X is your devotion to X or white. So potentially you can get this out for 2. It has flying and it's 3/3. A 3/3 for 2, actually not bad in general. I think that, to me, it's a really good card. I think that I like it. And I think that when it comes down to these sorts of abilities and effects, I think we'll see a little bit more in devotion builds. But for right now, the next card that we have, at least for D's, is the card Dreadful Apathy. It's a 3-drop enchantment aura. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, and you pay 2 colorless and a white. Exile enchanted creature. Honestly, this will possibly see a good amount of play, especially in white devotion builds for an exile mechanic. If it had escape, I think it'd be very powerful, but these themselves, not so much. But I mean, it'll see 2 ofs or 3 ofs maybe in constructed. Commander, it's 1 of, or Pro, it's 1 of. So I mean, you may see it out there. It's a new card. People are going to play with it. So I think that's always what that is. Next up, we have Favored of Iroas. It's a 3-drop, 2 colorless and white human soldier, and it has Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, it gains double strike until end of turn, and it's 2/2. Honestly, not bad for Enchantress builds. I think you're going to see a good amount of those coming into the format, especially with the amount of artifacts, or not artifacts, enchantments there coming out. And I think those will always be fun. But next up, we have, sorry about the shaking, Flicker of Fate. It's for 2, a colorless and white, with for an instant, exile target creature enchantment, then return it to the battlefield under your own under its owner's control. Honestly, I think this is a really good card. I think for me, especially if you're wanting to save a creature enchantment and it's going to do damage, you could just flicker it and bring it back. Now, will you be able to save it again? Maybe if you have more of what it takes to go ahead and have those flickers. But honestly, to me, I think that that's a really good card in general. Let me see here. All right, let me focus on a couple of these others, but moving on to G. Starting off with Glory Bearers. It's a 4-drop, 3 colorless and white enchantment creature human cleric. It's a 3/4, and when another creature you control attacks, it gets +0/+1 until end of turn. 3/4. I think for a defensive sort of situation, maybe. 4-drop is a little bit too high for a cost like that to me. If it was a 3-drop, I think it'd be pretty powerful. But I don't know. I think there are other cards that could potentially do a little bit better with the +0/+1 situation. If it was a +1/+1, I think that would have done actually a lot better. But I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see what goes on with that specific card. Sorry, guys, I'm just organizing the H's. Maybe next video that I do with just these sorts of things, I'm just going to go ahead and just focus on organizing them and then talking about them. Because I think maybe my opinions might not matter on these sorts of things. Maybe they do. If you like them, just let me know in the comments below. If you don't, then it is what it is. But if not, then maybe I'll change it up, see how it works better. But next up, Helios Pilgrim. It's a 3-drop, 2 colorless white human cleric, 1/2. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for an aura card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Not bad for Aura-esque builds for 3. Honestly, if it was for 2, that'd be a little bit more broken, especially if you're trying to build enchantment Aura builds. There's a few that actually would do well, but I don't know how I feel about that one. Next up, Helios Punishment. It's a 2-drop, colorless and white, enchantment Aura, enchant creature. Helios Punishment enters the battlefield with 4 task counters on it. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. It loses all abilities and have tap. Remove a task counter from Helios Punishment. Then, if it has no task counters on it, destroy Helios Punishment. Basically, it's not a bad card. It gives your cards. It gives you as the player advantage for at least 4 turns, unless you can proliferate the effect. And I think it's going to be seeing play. How much play? I don't know. Again, commander play versus standard, I don't know. But for the most part, let's move on. Hero of the Pride. A creature cat soldier. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Hero of the Pride, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. And it's a 2/2. Honestly, it's not a bad cat. It could have been better just giving it +1/+1. But I think it's a decent card. I think that will it see play? Probably. Will it see a lot of play? I don't know, but we'll have to go ahead and wait and see what goes on. All right, the next one up we have is Hero of the Winds. It's a 4-cost, 3 colorless and a white human soldier with flying, and whenever you cast a spell that targets Hero of the Winds, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn, and it's 1/4. Honestly, it's a, like the last one, it's a pump spell until end of turn, and I don't know. I think it's a 1/4 with flying, so it's going to be a good blocker. Will it see a lot of play? I do not know for sure, but hopefully we'll see what goes on with it later on down the line. Now, let me go ahead and see here real fast. Okay. Yeah, perfect. We'll go like that and like that. All right, so the next card we have up is Indomitable Will. It's a 2-drop enchantment aura with flash, enchant creature, and enchant creature gets +1/+2. Honestly, that's actually not a bad card. I think this will see a good amount of play in Devotion, Voltron builds maybe, but for that, it doesn't seem bad. I think I like it. I think it'll see a good amount of play in limited or even constructed. Maybe 2s of or 1 of, just to have it. This next card I think is my favorite out of the whole set. I think this is going to be my top, unless later down the line it'll be better. But I think this is the one that I choose out of the color white. Karametra's Blessing. It's a 1 white cost instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it's an enchanted creature or enchantment creature, it also gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Honestly, like I said, this is a very powerful card. Giving something hexproof and indestructible is very powerful. It's a very powerful concept, and if your opponents hadn't gotten the Shadow Spear or anything like that, I think it's going to see a good amount of play. That's going to be the 3 ofs or 4 ofs in a deck, possibly even 2 ofs, but I would not sleep on that card whatsoever. Again, I think that's my white pick of the commons and commons, but for the most part, the next one up that we do have up is Laguna Band Storyteller. It's a 4-cost, 3 colorless and a white creature, Centaur Advisor. It's a 3/4, and when Laguna Band Storyteller enters the battlefield, you may put target enchantment card from your graveyard on top of your library. If you do, you gain life equal to its converted mana cost. Not a bad card. I think that for 4, it's decently costed. Could it have been better? Maybe. Should it have been better? I don't know. But again, it just depends on how you look at it. To me, I think that's an alright card. You're going to gain life. Life gain decks are going to look at that. And I think you'll have fun with it. So that's fine there. Next up, Leonin of the Lost Pride. It's a 2-cost Cat Warrior. It's a 3/1, and when Leonin of the Lost Pride dies, exile target card from opponent's graveyard. Not bad. I think for a 2-drop with a 3/1, yes, it's going to die. Yes, it's going to go ahead and get him how to play. But to me, I think, yeah, it'll die. And when it dies, you'll be able to exile something. I like that ability. I like those types of effects. Honestly, getting things out so you don't have to deal with them later on down the road, I think those are always good to go ahead and have. But that's just my opinion on the matter. So I like it. But I think it'll see a good amount of play, hopefully. If not, then it is what it is. Next up, Nyxborn Courser. It's a 3-drop, 1 colorless, 2 white, enchantment creature, Centaur Scout. It's just a 2/4. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about it. I think it could be better. But for vanilla 2/4 for 3, I don't know. Especially with it being the 2 devotion. The next card that we're going to talk about is one of the omens. It is Omen of the Sun. For 3 mana, 2 colorless and white enchantment, you can flash it in, and when it enters the battlefield, create 2/1/1 white human soldier creature tokens, and you gain 2 life. And then you pay 3, 2 colorless and white, sacrifice it, and scry 2. Not a bad card. I think if it was a 2, it'd be very powerful. But for 3, it's going to be all right. I think it's going to see a decent amount of play. I think that we'll be able to see a decent amount of play with it. I think because these sorts of cards are new, I think that it's going to see a lot more play than people are expecting, especially with all these. They want to try out the new elements, and I think it's fun. It's fun in a limited sort of thing. How it's going to do in Constructed, don't know. But if it does well, it does well. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But you know what? That is how that usually goes. So next up, going to P, we have Pious Wayfarer. It's a 1-drop human scout that's a 1/2 with Constellation. When an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This is something, if it was one more than everything getting +1/+1 until end of turn, I think that would have been a lot better. But for a 1-drop, a 1/2, not a bad card. I think if you're trying to get there, then it might be decent. And especially with Enchantress decks, you're going to see a lot more of that going on. But I don't know. I don't know how much play it's going to see. Hopefully it sees a little, but probably not as much. But moving on, we have Phalanx Tactics. It's a 2 mana, 1 colorless, 1 white, instant. Target creature you control gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Each other creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. See, if to compare 1-drop versus 2, and 1-drop versus, if you made this a 1 colors and a 1 white, it would be this. This is a more playable card than this. This does it for creatures. This is an instant. I would pay the 1 mana extra to go ahead and play this over the other. But that's my sort of thing to that. So honestly, I'm going to say that's going to see a bit of play. But moving on, another thing that may see a bit of play, especially in White Devotion, Reverent Hoplite. It's cost 5 mana, 4 colorless and a white, 2 human creature or human soldier, and when it enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens equal to your devotion to white. This for 5, I think, is pretty good. I think that it may see 1 or 2s of in devotion builds. If it was for 4, I think it would have been very powerful. But I think that with that, yeah, it would have been a very powerful card. Would I have loved to see more of it in play? Yes. Would I have loved to see it do a little bit more with it? Maybe. But for right now, I think it's going to be very fun to play with. Next up, though, we do have Revoke Existence. It's 2 mana, 1 colorless, 1 white. It's a sorcery. Exile target artifact or enchantment. Sing play. I wish it was an instant over a sorcery, but this is definitely going to see plays, especially in enchantment artifact builds. Honestly, it's going to see a good amount of play. I think that if it doesn't see play, then there might be another card that might be better. But to me, I feel it's going to see a good amount of play. So, moving on to what I have. Rumbling Sentry. It's a 5 mana cost with 3 colorless, 2 white. It's a giant, and when it enters the battlefield, Rumbling Sentry, you scry 1. It's a 3/6. It's not bad. I'm not going to say it's a bad card. I think that it's just, I don't know. I don't think it's going to see play. I think it's going to, it might, but I don't think it's going to. I mean, that's the thing about those types of cards. It's probably, I hope it sees play, but I don't think it ever will. But with that said, moving on to the next card. After we go ahead and move a couple of these around, because we're almost done, and yeah, we're almost done. Okay, next card we have up that I think is going to be pretty good as well. Sentinel's Eyes, 1 cost enchantment aura. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has vigilance, and it has escape for 1 white mana. Exile 2 other cards from your graveyard, and then you just cast it again. I think this is not a bad card. I think this is going to see a good amount of play, especially devotion builds, Daxos devotion builds, Heliod devotion builds. I think it's going to see a good amount of play. How much play? I don't know for sure, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. All right, next up, we have Sun Mane Pegasus. It's a 4-drop Pegasus with flying. It's 2/3, and for 1 white, Sun Mane Pegasus gains vigilance and lifelink until end of turn. This is possibly going to be a really good card to play, especially in a drafting experience. I'd say if you have the opportunity to pick it up, do so, especially in that drafting experience, because vigilance and lifelink are always going to be powerful, and you could always pump it up. So yeah, I think that's always going to be one there. Next up, and we're almost hitting 40 minutes, so holy shit. Pardon my French. But anyway, Transcendent Envoy. It's a 2 mana cost with 1 colorless and a white. Enchantment creature Griffin. It has flying. Aura spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and it's a 1/2. Really not bad. It's going to potentially see play. I think especially with aura builds, it should see play. And it's not a legendary, so you can have out as many as you want from them. Next up, and we have 2 more cards, or this, and then we have 1 more card up there for the commons and uncommons that I got. But anyway, the Birth of Meletus. It's a 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 white enchantment saga. And it does the following. First, Chapter 1, search your library for a basic plains card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Number 2, or Chapter 2, create a 0/4 colorless wall artifact creature token with Defender. And Chapter 3, and the final chapter, you gain 2 life. I'm just going to have to say it's not that good of a card. If it was to put it onto the battlefield over in your hand, that would have been more powerful. But to do that first one, it might see a little play, but not a lot. And then the last but not least is Triumphant Sage, or Triumphant Surge. It's 4 for 4, 3 colorless and a white. Instant, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, you gain 3 life. It's not bad. I don't think it's a bad card for the amount of cost you're paying for it. And I think there are better. But for the most part, I think that it's not that bad of a card. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this type of video, put a like on the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you like the content I'm putting out. Also in the comments down below, let me know what's your favorite card in white, especially from this set, from the commons and uncommons. And yeah, just let me know. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. And thanks again. Peace out.